number 5. Why you picked number 5?
I think everybody know I wanted number 2. And the reason for me wanting number 2 was really like to remember like I'm second like in life. Like I wanted to put others before myself. So that was a big reason for me wanting number 2. And then during that process of me wanting number 2 and Woody wanting number 2, I mean, I just started to think like, hey, this is one of my reasons for wanting number 2 is to try to put others before myself and always kind of remember that. So he a kid from LA, and it made sense for him to have it over me. And the 5 was the other number that I was like, I'll go get if if there's an issue with 2, just because of certain little like meanings that I have internally about the number 5. That's it. Nothing crazy, you know what I mean?
How concerning was the secondary after the loss of JJ and Troy Hill, and how does it look to you now?
I don't think anybody was concerned, you know what I mean? Obviously, those 2 players were key to us last year. Troy, on a personal type level, allowed me to play multiple roles in the secondary, so that's somebody that I'm gonna miss on a personal level. JJ, obviously, he called the plays, and he was very important and played, had a heck of a season with us. So both of them guys, earned and deserved to go get paid elsewhere. And that's just what happened. That's a part of the business. But we got guys who, are capable of filling in those roles, and we'll have new starters and new role players this year, and we're gonna figure it out. I think we have the right group of guys to get the job done.
Do you have any thoughts on the new NFL Vaccinated Policy in terms of what might happen if a team misses games and that sort of thing?
I don't really. I'm not. Disclaimer: I'm not like pro-vax or anti-vax at all. It's a personal decision to me. My thing is, I just don't. And the only reason I had tweeted something about it was because like one of my friends had said, if you don't get the vax now, then you're just a bad teammate. And I just quote tweeted it. And my point of the tweet was to say, like, I won't think that you're a bad teammate if you just, because of your personal decision, whether you get it or not. Like, I don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? I think it's not fair fully, but just because, on one end, there's like, if you're vaccinated, you only, tested once every 14 days. If you are vaccinated, excuse me. If you're not vaccinated, it's every day. But, yes, it's less likely, but it's still possible that you could, get COVID. And then in those 14 days, you never know if you can get it and then you can spread it to somebody. And then just like how lenient the rules are. Like, I don't know. To me, I was thinking like, if I have player A, who is a vaccinated player, and he has no restrictions, and he kind of a wild guy, out and about all the time. And then I got player B, who's not vaccinated, and but he's a good guy, a chill guy, stays at home all the time, follows all the rules, wears masks, do all the good stuff, right? I feel like in that instance, even though the vaccinated guy is less likely to get COVID, I think the guy who's probably just chilling inside, doing everything right, other than the guy who's vaccinated and out wilding, is probably it probably equals out in my mind. I might be wrong. I don't know this stuff. That's not my field. I'm not saying I know it or anything. So I really don't want to get into it, and I really don't, have an opinion about it. I hope none of my teammates get fined $15,000 for anything. I think that's ridiculous, just the number. But I don't think any of my teammates are bad teammates because of their personal decisions. That's it. I hope that answered like any of those type of questions.
Thank you.
Jalen, going back to the secondary, what have you seen out of Jordan Fuller so far?
It's only day 2, so this is a little bit of a hard question, but we got a long way to go, and we're gonna keep stacking days. But it's a lot of the same stuff I saw out of Jordan last year. I've had a lot of faith in Jordan from the jump, even last training camp. I love what he brought to the team, and I think he's just building on that, and he's gonna take over a role of leadership, not only for our secondary, but I think for our team. And I think he deserves it. I think he's earned it, and I can't wait to not only see him in his year 2, but Burgess and everybody else.
Jalen, yesterday Aaron was asked about being 30 years old, and he said, "I feel it." You noticed Aaron slowing down at all
No,
at 30?
he is. No. I don't care if 80, 35, he's going to be the best player in the league.
From what you see as a defensive back, when you look at Matthew Stafford, that we wouldn't see. Cooper Kupp talked about he had a throw today with his eyes looking on. What are you seeing that makes him unique?
Once again, we only in day 2.
Right.
So it's a small little sample that I'm going off of, but just in these first 2 days, his ball placement on balls, like sometimes it is, we may have really good coverage and he'll throw a receiver open just by his ball placement, and that's been very impressive and, in my opinion, elite these first couple of days.
Jalen, what's it been like trying to find a balance between what worked so well last year and maybe some of the new things Raheem wants you guys to do and is working to introduce?
You said what's the balance?
How do you, do you want is it a complete carryover from what you guys were doing so well last year, or what's kind of different with him in charge?
He just got his own style, you know what I mean? He got his own flavor. He may call plays a little bit differently than plays were called last year, but for the most part, we're going to continue doing things that I'm sure he felt like we did well, change some of the things that we may not have done well, and just try to keep improving and building off of what we did last year. And honestly, I don't even really want to say that because last year was last year and this year is going to be completely different. So I really don't want to compare him and Coach Staley. Just let him be him and let this defense be, this year's defense. And let last year be what last year was, and just enjoy what that was, but kind of move on and keep it pushing and build on whatever this year is going to be.
Jalen, do you set personal goals?
Win. That is my one goal. Like on the football field?
Yeah.
Win, yeah.
Is there anything in particular as you come into training camp that you're working on?
I wouldn't say it's one thing. I try to work on my my complete game, but just finding ways to win. I think that's it. That's whatever it's going to take for me to win my rep and help the team, win.
Following up on that, how do you stay ahead of the game considering everybody has tons of tape on you now, and they're trying to attack you in different ways?
How do I stay above the game? That's a great question. You know what I mean? I guess they study
film. As far
film.
as training goes, following up on the previous question, do you do specific things saying, I know they're going to try to attack me this way this season or this game, and then you just work on that, or you just do the same things and try to be consistent every year?
Well, you try to perfect your craft, obviously. For the most part, yeah, there are different tools in my toolbox, different techniques I can use, different styles that I can play against different people, and I try to perfect as much of it as I can. And that's like the basics for me. But then obviously once we get into the season, just like you said, they study film on me, I study film on them too, and I study film on myself, so I don't know. That's a good question. That's the best answer I can give you. They study film, I study film, we go on the field, we see who's better. I don't know.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Jalen.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.